Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Learn Just Be with Mahesh. Today we'll try to see a mini implementation of Mountkirk Games, which is one of the case studies in our professional cloud architect examination. So this is just a mini implementation. Just wanted to highlight that very clearly in the title itself, where I'm going to show you how a mobile app or not a mobile app, how a gaming app can be deployed on a compute engine. Then as a further implementation, I'll also show you how it can be implemented in a managed instance group. Let's get started. For folks who are looking at this video for the first time, so this is the official material where you see for professional cloud architect, there's one case study called as Mountkirk Games. And one of the requirement here, they mentioned they are planning to move their backend to a compute engine. So because it's a gaming platform, so I thought let me take a small, at least an app or a game which can be deployed on a compute engine and later on a managed instance group. So as a cloud architect, right? So I wanted to be little stay away from writing a code. So I just searched for few sample codes in the net. I got one, and believe me or not, it's a 9-year-old code. All credit goes to the person here, contributors. So what I have done is I have cloned this. So they have mentioned how to run it with Python, all those things. So I have cloned this uh, into my uh, GitHub repository. So this link, I'm going to put it in the description. You can download it, clone it. You can do stuffs there. So I slightly modified it to make it suit a virtual machine. So the steps are basically provision a virtual machine with this as your startup script. That's it. And it should start working. That's it. So let me just copy it, create a virtual machine, and let's call this as Mountkirk game case study, something like that. And we'll just deploy a virtual machine. And because I need to have an external IP address, so we need to have that so that we can access it. Basically, we can access that uh, web app, and it's going to be a maze game, basically. Interesting one after a long time seeing a game in a busy schedule. So thought of doing that. So Mountkirk game um, game. So I'm going to make it as Singapore, and I'm just going to use all the default settings there. So a couple of things which I wanted to do is under and let's make it as F1 micro. Scroll down and HTTP is required, and I don't have a certificate, so I'm not going to turn on HTTPS. Under management, the startup script, which I copied from my GitHub, so I'm just going to mention it here. Simple. Copy paste. That's it. What it does basically does, it does the updates, the packages, then installs Git because Debian 10 does not come with Git. So I'm just going to install Git. Why? Because I have to clone it from my GitHub repository and Apache web server. That's it. So usually when you have Apache web server, all your contents are going to be served by default from /var www/html. So I'm just changing the directory there and cloning there. So if I do that, what's going to happen is I can do /Mountkirk Games. It should show up. That's the whole intent here. And I'm going to do one small trick. This is for the upcoming managed instance group section, which we are going to do. So under disks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck this so that I can create once we have everything working fine, we are going to delete this virtual machine and use this disk to create a golden image, which can be used for our managed instance group demo. So that's a part. So first part, we are just going to run it in our virtual machine. So let me click on create. All right, the virtual machine is provisioned, so the external IP address is there. Let me just click on this. It's going to show Apache Web Server, standard demo, which you see in most of the official materials. So as per the documentation, so I have to put /Mountkirk Games. So let me just put that and hit enter. I should see the game. So it's a maze game. So it's been a while. I have not even played such games. So let me just play it. So, and let me see whether I can finish my level 1. Awesome. I finished level one. I'm in my level two. So that's the first part which I wanted to show how quickly we were able to do an app running in. So now this is not truly mobile based. The reason is it was created 9 years back, but the app is still responsive. How do you know it? Just click on right click, inspect, and I can change in my Chrome browser itself, whether it should be able to render, how it renders responsively. So that's what it shows. So I can just reduce the form factor and see whether it's going to run here. Awesome, it's working there. So, and if you wanted to try how it's going to do it on something like iPhone or iPad, something like that. So this is what it's going to show. I'm not sure whether this is how it works. Yes, it renders. So, and mobile developer or an application development will a developer would be able to comment more on this, but I just wanted to show you how easy it is to test it out. So everything is working fine. So let me just close this. What I'm going to do is, this is the first part of the demo, folks. So now it's running as a virtual machine and it's only in Singapore. Now the game, if becomes very popular, that's the main important thing in Mountkirk Games. They want a global presence. So this could be played by players across the world. Now, how do I do it? So that's where manage instance group, where also you will have a global load balancer. So that's a key part. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this. So even if I delete it, the disk which I'm going to have will be still retained because of the small trick which we did. Uncheck the checkbox so that the virtual machine, even if the virtual machine gets deleted, the disk would be retained. So if I just click on disk, you should be able to see the disk that's going to be retained even if we delete the virtual machine. So currently, if you see, this is the disk, 10 GB disk. Currently, it is used by this virtual machine. When I delete this virtual machine, what is going to happen is basically it's going to be pretty open. I can use it for any virtual machine. So let me just delete this, say bye bye to this virtual machine. So I should not check this, very important. Otherwise the disk is going to be deleted. So virtual machine is deleted. In next few minutes you should see an empty screen. Then what we are going to do is we are going to basically use that image, use that disk and convert that disk into a golden image. Let's wait for the virtual machine to be deleted. All right, the virtual machine is deleted. Now, if I go to my disks, I should see the disk being retained still because of that small trick which we did. And even those kinds of tricks could be important from the exam perspective. Now, what I'm going to do is, so you see in use is empty. So from here, I'm going to create a image. So I'm going to call this image as Mountkirk Game image, because one of the most important thing for Mountkirk Games, one of the most important thing for manage instance group is a golden image. So let's create it. So I'm just going to make it as regional for reducing my cost only. That's it. Let me click on create. So it's going to take around 2 minutes or 3 minutes for the image to be created. Once the image gets created, let's go ahead and create an go ahead and create a template which is going to use this image. So the image is getting created. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. All right, the image is created. Now the next step is go to your instance templates, create a template. So using this template only, multiple copies, the auto scaling is going to happen. So template is the most important thing. So let's create it quickly. So let's give a name like Mountkirk Games case instance template 1. So versioning is very important. So version 1. And since we are going to do lots of virtual machines to be created, auto scaling. So I have a limited quota in a free trial account. So I'm just going to make it as micro, F1 micro. Then this is the most important part, folks. So click on change. I don't want a vanilla operating system, but I want a custom image. And so the custom image is going to be the image which we just created. So let's wait for this to come up. So it's going to do, it's basically doing an Ajax call. So yes, I see the image. I'm going to use this image for my instances. That's it. So make sure the firewall rule is turned on. I don't need anything extra basically. And to be on the safer side or to make it more robust, right? So under networking, what I'm going to do is the virtual machines which I create, I don't want it to have basically external IP address, because anyway we are going to have a load balancer. Why do you need to have an external IP address incurring cost? So safety, like more secure, and also we are making it more cost optimized. That's it. Let's create a template. Sorry, let's create a template, and you should be able to use this template and create an MIG. So since I'm in Asia, so I'm going to create an MIG in Asia. The same thing you can do it for Europe and US also, so that it's going to be there. So this is just a template. Let's just go and use instance group, create an instance group using this template. And this template uses that specific image which we created. So I'm going to call it as Asia MIG. Multiple zones is going to be really a good choice. Regional MIG is what we are going to create. So this is again the most important part. Select the template which we just did. Go down, turn on your auto scaling. So there are different modes. We wanted to scale up and scale down both. Add more, remove when there's no traffic. So I'm going to do basically HTTPS load balancing here. So I'm just going to make something like around 60%, something like that. Click done, minimum or maximum. So I'm going to make it as something like 5. Should be good enough in my case. Then the most important thing is basically a health check. So let's make a health check, create a health check. So health check, health check, MG for Mountkirk Games, a short form. Port 80 is what we have kept already open. So this is very, very important. That's it. Click on continue. All good. So click on create. It's going to pop up saying that you have not configured the global load balancer. Definitely we are going to create it. That's our next step. So let's just create this. Wait for this to come up. And once it is going to come up, basically it's going to create one virtual machine. So I can just go and see it in my virtual machine. And it's going to have internal IP address. So it's not going to have external IP address. It's going to have internal IP address. So the external IP address is going to be provisioned by our load balancer, a global a global external IP address is what we are going to provision. So if I just refresh it, I should see a new entry basically. The resource is getting provisioned Asia-MIG and some suffix. External IP address would be none. So let's wait for it to come up. Yes, it has come up. Now the last step is go ahead and create a load balancer. So for that, just click on your hamburger menu and scroll down to network services, load balancer, provision a L7 load balancer, the smartest load balancer which you can get. So click on start. The traffic is going to come from external source. Now just mention your backend service, what you want. So I'm just going to call it as MG -LB load balancer. Configure your backend service. Create a backend service. So call it as backend service uh, MIG. So I'm going to use instance group. I have only one instance group. I'm selecting it. If you have a Europe, Americas, all those things, you can add it. And the port which I wanted to listen on is on port 8080. Sorry, port 80. Uh, I'm really a fan of rate-based balancing mode. So I'm going to make it as something like 40 requests per second per instances. So, and I'll keep the capacity as 80 to be on the safer side. That's it. Now my MIG is configured. The last one in a load balancer is having the health check. Please configure the same health check which you had created. So there are lots of health checks in my system. The one which I created is going to be used. So this health check and the health check which you configured should be the same. So that's it. Click on create. Now host and path, let's leave it as default. Then coming to your front end, so front end LB of, let me just keep it as front end settings. So if you have HTTPS, you want to create HTTPS, you have a SSL certificate, do it. I don't have it. I'm just going to do HTTP. And for now, let it be ephemeral. Later, once the IP address is created, you can go to your external IP address configuration and turn it as static if you want. That's it. All good. So if I just click on review, I should be able to see all the details which I have done. Go ahead, click on create, and it's going to take around 4 minutes or 5 minutes. Usually the load balancer takes around 4 to 5 minutes. Sometimes 7 minutes is what I have seen. So let's wait for that to come up. Once it comes up, we should have an external IP address where we can access it. And basically this is going to be a anycast IP. So anywhere from the world you can access it. It's going to have the lowest latency there. And if you want it to serve to the closest MIG, create more MIGs basically. So let's wait for this to come up. So this green tick does not indicate the load balance is completely provisioned. So it's not yet there. So it has lots of other steps to be done. Health check has to be done, all those things. But this is our external IP address. So now if I click on it, it's going to show page not found. So we need to wait for a few more minutes. So let me just copy this and keep it ready. So once my load balancer is up and running, you should be definitely able to see it. And if I come to my backend service, if I come to my backend service, I should be able to see a flow. Basically, I should be able to see a flow which is going to come up, this flow. If the request is coming from Asia, it should go to Asia MIG. Since I have only one MIG, so any request is going to go to only one MIG. So if you want to distribute the load, add two more MIGs, basically. That's it. So let's wait for this to come up. I'm going to pause the video. It's not there, so it's going to take around 4 to 5 minutes. So let's wait for it. All right, now it's serving the request. So we can just play the level one again. Now it's now served from a global load balancer. That's the key part here. So it's the same experience. Now I can add more MIGs and I can have more more responses from various part of the world. So now if I just go refresh this, I should see a traffic actually from Asia to MIG. Basically, because I'm in Asia, so it's going to be in Asia. It's going to hit Asia. Let me also try to show you a simulation. What happens if a request comes from US or from European parts of the world, European Union kind of part of the world. Let me just see it. So let's wait and see. Okay, this is going to just take a few minutes for it to populate. Let me just refresh it one more time. So this is going to pop up. So I wanted to show you that part. Let's just give a try one more time. All right, you see that most of the traffic is coming only from Asia. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a proxy tool, Tunnel Bear, and try to simulate as if like I'm sitting from US, as if I'm sitting from Switzerland. And let's see how it's going to populate. So all right, I'm using Tunnel Bear. So it's a free edition which I'm going to use. So I'm just going to simulate as if like I'm, and say for example, United Kingdom, UK. So I'm just going to tunnel. So just wanted to show you the animation. I really like this animation. So now I'm in UK. So what I'll do is get the URL, go to my incognito window. So I'm in a Edge browser. So let me hit it. So this is going to as if give me a feel that I'm hitting request from uh, UK. So which is European Union here or Europe. So the same thing works. So let me just hit a couple of times so that the request is going to be good. I can see that line, the thick line, that visualization is really cool. So I have hit that. Let me just close this window, come back, uh, refresh this. I should say traffic has come from Europe also. The same thing I can also do it from US also. Let's just wait for this to come up. for some reason the tunnel bed did not work. It was even when I simulated it as if like coming from UK, it is still showing an Asia. But if we can have a virtual machine created in, uh, say for example, in any parts of Europe or any parts of US, you should be able to see the stuff. So I thought of sharing it, but was not able to share it. That's okay. So basically, this is the part which I want to show. That's the reason I told in the beginning a mini implementation of Mountkirk Games. Hope the concept is very clear. So just the beginning part is what we have implemented. So there are other components like data store or file store. Then you have streaming data coming in, PubSub, data flow, BigQuery, all those things are going to come into picture. But this was just a teaser kind of a stuff is what I tried to show you, and also get a feel like how if there's an application available. It was a 9-year-old application. Still, we were able to run it successfully on Compute Engine, and also upgraded ourselves to make it in managed instance group demo also. So please let me know in the comment section if you really like this. Maybe as an enhancement, we can try to containerize it, or we can also run it in App Engine and see how easy it is to be done. So that this entire demo took around roughly around 15 minutes plus. But when we do it on something like App Engine or something, it's going to just take 5 minutes less than. That's the power of a platform as a service. So that's the video which I wanted to share today. Hope you like it. Thank you for watching.